Drake dethrones Kendrick Lamar on Spotify. This is what Spotify monthly listeners. Right now, Drake sitting at 80.65 million listeners. Kendrick Lamar sits at 80.62 million listeners. This is like a 30,000 listener difference. Look, Drake did the Wireless Festival. Kendrick Lamar still on the GNX tour. Both of them promoting the shit out themselves, bro. Let's just be honest, bro. This is 160 million cumulative listeners. Think about what they could do together, fam. I know a lot of people still riding with this whole Drake versus Kendrick, Kendrick versus Drake. Look, the whole beef was just bullshit. You know what I mean? They got 160 million listeners together. You know what I mean? And meanwhile, I'm just a squirrel trying to get a nut. Scars from the playground, bro. Y'all go check out the music. Right now, I think I'm sitting at about 20 listeners this month. I changed the name of it. They changed the game up. Drop it in the comments, fam. Scars from the playground. He filed a $170 million defamation lawsuit against Tony Busby. Look, he just lost in court. The judge threw that shit out of there, but he went to the state of where that woman filed that lawsuit, and he filed him one, 170 million. Allegedly, Tony Busby cost him, found a woman through Facebook ads, a mentally ill woman through Facebook ads to go at him, even though he knew it wasn't true. He won 170 million, $55 million because he lost a line of credit, and $115 million because a business loan that fell through because of negative press surrounding the allegations. Look, bro, those allegations might have been false. Sorry, Jigga. Those allegations might have been false, but YouTube were fucking with R. Kelly, fucking with Aaliyah, fucking with Foxy Brown. All this is alleged, but come on, my nigga. Come out and own up to something. The little shit that you did in hip-hop, fool. You got to be honest about this shit. You got to be real. YNW Melly retrial, double murder retrial set for September, fam. Jury selection will start September 10th. The opening arguments will commence September 16th. Look, Jamel Demon's been locked up since 2019. Mistrial in 2023. He's on trial for orchestrating the deaths of YNW Juvie and YNW Sack Chase. It wasn't just him. It was the other one too. What's his name? YNW Bortland. Yeah. Apparently, allegedly, they set the whole thing up to look like a drive-by, but really, it shows that the fragments, the bullets, came from inside the car, that back seat. Look, allegedly, Fred O'Bang got something to do with it too. Look, all this shit is getting sticky. You know what I mean? These people are going for the death penalty if convicted. That's not off the table. Look, shout out Melly, but you ain't gonna keep getting retried. Thug request a sentencing modification. This is for the plea deal, bro. They got him with some strict restrictions that he cannot live with. Look, despite dropping all them little crocodile tears while he was in there, I'ma change. The man came out rapping the same, acting the same, fam. He still wants to be a commercial star. The commercialism is the fake part, but that's a whole other story. Look, bro, they got him on a 40-year sentence. If he slips up one time, his ass will be in there till he rots. He's looking, and the state of laws, within that 1 year window, to get a modification, but he want the restrictions taken off. The man can't go to Atlanta. His random drug testing. If he slips one time, he going back in. He wants out of that deal. But look here, bro. Drink, coke, machine guns. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real. He got off light. Rico DeBarge was arrested in Burbank, California, bro. They pulled him over for riding a mongoose with no safety reflectors on the back. They couldn't tell you. You got to have proper lighting when you're riding, apparently, in California. But look here, bro. This is supposed to be a little routine mongoose stop. Turns out the man was on his bike smoking crack rock. Yeah, the man was smoking crack rock, sucking out that glass stick, that stickler. They noticed that. They arrested him on the spot. On top of that, he had a outstanding warrant for crystal meth possession, fam. Look, this old dog ain't gonna never do new tricks. Let's just say it like that. This man been smoking crack since the 80s, fam. Shout out to him, bro. I hope he finds some type of. I don't even think counseling would help him at this point, bro. It's in him. Yeah, that shit in him. Drop it in the comments. Shout out Chico. These songs denies assaulting the club photographer. Look, bro, he said it's just clickbait. He said y'all fall for anything. Despite them having some type of footage of the altercation, look, the owner allegedly asked the cameraman to get one last picture of Trey Songz, one last picture of Trigger Trey next to that logo. Apparently somebody did something. They was cussing in the background. Trey thought he said something, turned around, two-pieced him, broke two cameras, and threw him into the wall like a maniac, allegedly. You know what I mean? uh, the owner say, hold on, Trey, that's my guy. Trey Songz allegedly said, I don't give a fuck, and wanted to knuck and buck with him. You know what I mean? The cops was called. Look, Trey say all this shit is fake. The dude went to the hospital, bro. He suffered a migraine, a concussion, and a hurt ankle. Something has to be real about it, Chicka. Corner Lucas throwing shots at Skepta. Lil Skepta made a diss track in which he say, where I'm from, I'm the GOAT. Where you from, you a joke. SK turn you to a ghost. Look, Joyner Lucas say he ain't even want to respond to that shit because he's a rapper's rapper. But you know what? He released a diss song, Nobody Cares. Before he did that, he said, say less. Nobody cares, bro. He's been waiting to battle rap people anyway. This is what he does. He called out Meek Mill. Meek Mill didn't want to smoke. Now Skepta wanted all the way from across that water. Why Drake done already said UK rappers more lyrical than American rappers. That's bullshit. American rappers killing him. You know what I mean? In the UK, come on, man. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real. But look here, Joyner Lucas said, I bet you sit in the room and secretly wish you was American. Nobody care how close you and Drake is. He say you invented UK rap, but still ain't even top 10 in your home coast. Shout out Joyner Lucas. Nobody can fuck with that boy. Clips, Let God Sort 'Em Out album is incredible, fam. It's a masterpiece. On top of that, Pharrell production was undeniable. It's an actual rap album with no singing. You know what I mean? They spitting like no malice, spitting like a motherfucker, fam. You gotta really listen to it and not skim through it. You know what I mean? You ain't solid, you ain't valid. Nigga, you ain't malice. Look, shout out Pusha T. All things considered. If the sky's your limit, you'll never get it. Pay attention and listen to snakes hissing. Look, bro, this album was dope. I didn't even want to like it, fam, but I'm a real hip hopper's hip hopper. You know what I mean? When I hear it, I know what it's supposed to sound like, bro. It's supposed to sound like that. At 48 and 52 years old, bro, they killing the youngsters. You know what I mean? They made me look. They making squads on the playground step his shit up. You know what I mean? Yeah, bro. That's the type of shit that inspires and motivates. Got a lot of gems in it. 50 Cent throwing shots at Diddy. Look, Diddy just enrolled in drug classes and a domestic abuse class to try to get out of there when they sentence him. Look, 50 Cent say it doesn't work. He heard about it. It doesn't work. At this point, 50 Cent just trolling, fam. That's all that is. 50 Cent is just trolling. Despite 50 Cent turning him down to go shopping, 50 Cent had partied with that man for years. 4 years. What y'all don't know about these people, fam, these rich moody fuckers, they all got some type of friend. You only want to call it friendship. It's business ship. They all got something going on with each other that uh, they're closer than you may think. You know what I mean? Now, when Diddy get out, he's gonna try to eviscerate him, but it's just gonna be a fight, fam. But it's never gonna turn physical or bloody. That's when you gotta understand. Raise an eyebrow, bro. Other things are going on behind the scenes, fam. Drop it in the comments. I'm just being honest. I'm just being real. Story Lonely facing a new lawsuit for making a fan, coercing a fan to jump off the stage, man. Now, when I seen it, I thought he was going to crowd surf. I thought this was going to be the first crowd surf for this young man. But the man knew he couldn't make that jump. Drop it in the comments. Destroy Lonely knew he could not make that jump, bro. When the young man jumped off that stage, he jumped straight into a steel metal barrier, right into the chest, fam. collapsed lung. You could tell by the look on his face, he wasn't okay, fam. You can't put the fans in danger, fam. You can't make them risk their life for your show. Now, you didn't got so many clicks and views off this shit, but that is gonna hurt your pockets, man. Yeah, that's gonna hurt your pockets. You better go to them people and pay behind the scenes, cause that was fucked up. Yeah, that was fucked. Look, Clarissa Shields fighting Layla Ali for $15 million, 15 to 20. That's how much Layla Ali said she wanted if she was gonna come out of retirement and get in the ring with Clarissa Shields. Look, bro, I don't know what these people doing out here. I don't know why they would even uh, put this in talks, but this has to be stopped. Yeah, this has to be stopped. On top of that, whoever sanctions this fight should be fired, bro. Nobody wants to see it. Clarissa Shields is a beast. Yeah, I know she get a lot of shit on the internet from being in a relationship with Papoose and going at Remy Ma, going back and forth with Remy Ma. But you gotta understand this. Clarissa Shields got them hands. I'm not saying Layla Ali didn't, but at the age she is and what Clarissa Shields is now, uh-uh, it ain't no match. I'm just being honest. I'm just being real. Drop it in the comments. Shout out Clarissa, shout out Layla, but this one shouldn't happen. Look, Blueface shocks fans with new prison photos, bro. He released new photos from Lancaster State Prison in California, where he's serving a 4-year sentence for violating his probation in 2021. The whole security guard incident. Look, bro, Broden got his weight up. Let's start there. Broden got his weight up. He shared a few pictures in a couple different outfits. What people notice more is the fact that he tatted up his whole face. Tatted his whole face up. He's everywhere. He went with like 2-3 tattoos, coming out with a face full. Now, a lot of people think, man, he's losing his mind in there because he ain't PC'd up. This ain't that. You got to know, tattoos in California, LA, this is just how it was always going to be like this. Yeah, look at the boy, DJ Daniels from the Hughless. Look, he shocked the world, but this is just how they rock out there, fam. Look, Lil Baby bought Young Thug a CBFW necklace. Look, bro, it comes with 3 interchangeable colorways with the king spiders on them. If you want to wear red, green, or black, you know what I mean? Real shit. You change the back out like a phone case. 40 pointers in a piece, 75 pointers in a necklace. Look like he spent a cool 60. Might have even spent 100, bro. This is just a token of his appreciation. And a lot of people say, nah, it ain't no $100,000. Look, bro, the value is in the details. Yeah, I'm gonna say that again. The value is in the details of this particular piece, dog. Shout out to Lil Baby. This ain't no GAY shit. I know a lot of people gonna go there. This is a token of appreciation. They're playing with money. You know what I mean? They're playing with money. It ain't like he spent his life savings. He just showing his boy he fucks with him. More people should rock like that, fam. Yeah, more people should rock like that. It ain't all about putting chains on your niggas like your own slaves. Look, the Clips Let God Sort 'Em Out album completely shocked me, fam. Shocked me. I really gave it a listen. See, when it's about hip hop and you're really looking for that sound, fam, you gonna know it when you hear it. Let's just say it like that, nigga. I got to put some respect on Pusha T name and No Malice. This CD was great, bro. A lot of people ain't just putting out real rap albums. I think this motherfucker was too real. You know what I mean? Real shit. It was too much rap on this album. You can't even jam it all at once. You got to jam this album in parts, and you will see that this album it's magical, fam. Glorious. Yeah, this is what hip-hoppers want to see, man. Shout out Pusha T. Shout out No Malice. Like I said, that Let God Sort 'Em Out, that POV. No Malice is way better than I remembered, fam. I got to respect them guys, hip-hop-wise. Look, Travis Scott throwing shots at Pusha T. Look, Pusha T dragged him on So Be It, called him a disloyal hoe-ass nigga. Yeah, somewhere along those lines. Well, look, Travis Scott has responded. This is in a new Jack Boys 2 song, Champagne and Vacay. Champagne and Vacay, unless he misspelled it on purpose. Champagne isn't spelled right. I want to tell you that this is with Don Tolliver and Waka Flocka. Look, he said, I swear these old niggas killed me. I know my YNs feel me. They just want the real me. Blue Bugatti, Dodge, and TMZ made 100 off of pushing T's. Now my phone on D&D. Wasn't the hottest. I'm gonna be honest with you. Shit wasn't really the hottest. Me even trying to say that shit back really fuck with me. But I ain't never heard the song either, fam. They say the album kind of lackluster. I don't know, bro. We'll check it out soon. Drop it in the comments, man. I'm just being honest. I'm just being real. Look, Shannon Sharp requests a 45-day court extension. Look, the victim didn't show up for the first day of court. They say skipping a preliminary hearing undermines credibility and momentum. Look, Shannon Sharp's attorneys requested a 45-day extension to prepare a response to the sexual assault allegations. This $50 million sexual assault lawsuit. Look, the judge approved it, but also said she don't know why they wasn't looking for a swift resolution to this. This is 45 days. Look, you know what going on in the background, fam? He's paying. He's waiting on that money to clear so all this shit here can go away. When a lot of people will say, bro, you should have paid the money at first. At first, I think it was only about 10 million. Gabrielle Zuniga, you know what I mean? Yeah, Gabrielle Zuniga, she want that money, fam. Not saying it didn't happen, but if he gonna pay like he weighs, she'll take that. Drop it in the comments. It's all she wanted from the get-go. Cause from the playground. Look, Kanye West delivered an incredible performance in front of 70,000 people at the Shanghai Stadium, bro. He returned to China after 16 years. 72,000 people exactly showed up to this thing, fam. It was made at one of the largest concerts in China's history. Now, a lot of people is banning the guy. Even Australia don't want him nowhere around. But this just shows you, bro, the man has cultural influence, bro. He ain't going nowhere. Kanye in his rap bag, he's amazing, bro. He even performed the alternate version of Hail Hitler. They loved it. This is the Hallelujah version. I ain't never heard it, fam. I got to be honest with you. I got to be real. I ain't the biggest Kanye West supporter personally. But musically, man, Kanye, he's still that guy when he wants to be. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real. Drop it in the comments, fam. Scars from the playground. Look, Gunna becomes co-owner of hydration brand Flourish Hydration. Look, the man has been working out. He ain't worried about none of that snitch shit. He has transformed and transfigured into something else. On top of that, if you ask me, he's surpassing Young Thug with the music. Since Young Thug has gotten out, everything has been bullshit. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real. When you want to hear something with a real vibe, you going to put on that Gunna. If you want to hear them niggas singing and spitting like that. Let's just be honest. He took the formula and ran with it. But look here, bro. He's partnered with Flourish Hydration. He wanted to partner with a brand that was aligned with his commitment to clean living and real performance. Look, Flourish is the first brand to have a watermelon base. Yeah, natural ingredients, watermelon base, and no artificial flavoring, bro. Look, Reggie Wright defends Whack 100 amid criticism. He said he doesn't believe Whack 100 is an informant. Despite the badge, Reggie Wright says Whack 100 ain't the cops. Look, Whack flaunted his police badge that he keeps in his back pocket. He said he been working with them people for quite some time. Reggie Wright called in a cap. I'm saying it's only so long a nigga can hold on to the truth. Yeah, the man talks so much, bro. He was bound to tell it. He just came out and told it before he slipped up. You gotta ask yourself, bro, why would he do this when he's involved with two street guys? Blueface telling and the game. This makes both of them rappers look not credible, bro. It make both of them rappers look fugazi. Why? Your man say he for yeah, that's your man. Your man say he the cops, fam. Yeah, you can't unhear that shit. Look, Kendrick Lamar breaks another record with the Luther single. That's what Scissor, fam. Look, it has become the longest running number one song in the rap song in the history of the hot rap charts, song charts. Since 1989, no song has spent this amount of time on the charts, man. 27 weeks. Look, you gotta salute that on top. On the TOP, on top of that, GNX is the number one album in the country for the last 23 weeks, man. You gotta salute people when they're supposed to be saluted, bro. I a lot of people was blaming it on bots. It was Drake versus Kendrick. Look, some people just here for the music. Apparently, fans, not only the K-bots, are really enjoying this shit. On top of that, it's a Luther sample, dog. It was bound to sell. Look, 50 Cent throwing shots at Lil Meech. He say Michael Rainey Jr. out here modeling for Hilfiger and ringing that bell at the stock exchange. Meanwhile, this man is trying to play gangster. Allegedly, fam, his homeboys say they was pulled over by the police. Big Lil Meech threw his gun and his drugs on him while he was asleep and forced him to take that case. Look, 50 say this it's a private school shit that he's been talking about, fam. The man is just perpetrating as a street guy and don't know what the fuck he's doing. That shit'll get you hurt, fam. That's the same shit Trey the Truth and Zero was going through over Zero putting it off on his little brother. You know, look, drop it in the comments. But yeah. He say Lil Meech spent all his money on drugs and chrome hearts. That's what happens. Look, Freeway Ricky throwing shots at Whack 100. Look, this is the real Rick Ross. He say Whack 100 is a cornball. On top of that, he's a low down, disgusting informant, Jay Reed type of motherfucker from In Too Deep. Jay Reed type of motherfucker. He ain't no cop. He's a sellout. Out here spewing false allegations, saying that man snitched to get out. Look, bro, you can't take it from everybody. You can't take it from everybody. It's already in the books that Freeway Ricky, undercover bad cops, the CIA, he found a loophole to get out. You can't take it from everybody. Ain't no paperwork. He said, if you got some paperwork, show him. He says all bullshit, fam. You building all this snitch allegations on him over rumors, fam. You gotta watch how you speak to certain people. You know what I mean? Drop it in the comments. Look, Drake throwing shots at Kendrick Lamar. Look, the man is headlining the Wireless Festival right now in the UK, in London. Look, the man say 3 nights, 3 different sets, 3 different vibes. You name one artist that could do this like this and bring them up, we can clash. Look, the fans start chanting, fuck Kendrick. Fuck Kendrick. Look, this is all the way overseas, bro. This is in the UK. Kendrick dominating in the US right now. For sure. I got to say that. They love him. They love him here. This is his country. But in the UK, they screaming, fuck Kendrick. He took off his headset. He said, just to hear what they were saying, he said, you know what, Chubbs, give me a shot. I'll drink to that. You know what I mean? Look, round 2 has started. What a K-Dot wanted it or not. And Drake got a point, bro. 3 different sets, 3 different vibes. Not everybody could do that. Look, Young Jeezy new film Trap City is incredible, fam. I loved it. I'm just being honest with some, just being real. Jeezy played Pastor Mo. Pastor Mo was like a street reverend. Brandon T. Jackson played the rapper. He snitched on Clifton Powell. That's Goose. He played Goose. Clifton Powell did an amazing job in this film, bro. I just want to give everybody shout outs for this. This was dope. Look, Brandon T. Jackson was caught delivering that China White. He had to snitch on Goose, end up getting shot. But he did like a little viral freestyle, fam. He did a little viral freestyle about a fish fillet and became a star. So he was gotta be a star, and he faced with snitching. You know what I mean? Shit, it's a dope movie. It's incredible. Everybody should check this new movie out. Omar Gooden spit a sick freestyle in that, bro. I got to salute him. Look, Columbus Short granted a temporary restraining order against his wife, fam, against his wife. He didn't like the way she was treating their new 10-month-old puppy. Allegedly, she slung it across the room. He confronted her about it. She didn't want to talk like that. She two-pieced him. Hit him with the third one just to really shut him up. That third one opened a cut above his eye. Blood was going everywhere. Look, the neighbors called the cops because they say they thought somebody was getting killed off in there just from the screams of him shrieking in pain. Look, bro, Columbus Short filed a temporary restraining order. He don't want to be nowhere around her. When the cops came, they arrested her after seeing his wounds. Look, bro, I don't know what to say about this one. At least he wasn't drunk. Yeah, at least he wasn't drunk this time. This is just some other shit, fam. Look, TK Kirkland throwing shots at Jay-Z. He said that man got a $2.56 billion net worth and won't help Dame Dash. Look, bro, they trying to take everything from him. He already got to sell the companies. At one point, they wanted the wedding ring off of Dame fingers to pay his debt. Now look here, fam. Look here. A lot of people gonna say, bro, Jay don't owe him shit. Man, Dame went to war for Jay, him and others. The ones that are doing better than Dame in 2025 shouldn't be behind the scenes watching them go through all this shit. They should dig in one of them motherfucking pockets and help him. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real. This is a smart, futuristic nigga we talking about, boo. To help him would just be an investment. Look, Charleston White throwing shots at 4 Extra. He say he don't give a fuck about no fireworks. He don't give a fuck about no hand. And he don't give a fuck about no Vernon Ave. He say fuck him all. Look, so a lot of people say Charleston White lost his mind and he might have found his match with 4 Extra despite the whole hand accident. But Charleston White goes at everybody, fam. You got to show him. You got to show him. You got to shut him up. If you can't shut him up, Charleston White is gonna talk. He didn't just call out 4 Extra. He called out Adam 22 too. He always called out Adam 22. I was just surprised about the whole 4 Extra beef. I never knew it was nothing there. But Charleston White don't like street niggas. Yeah, yes. Charleston White don't like that shit. If he can, he will have you arrested. Look, shout out 4 Extra, man. I hope you get better. Look, Eminem credited as writer on Justin Bieber's Swag album. Look, the Biebs credited Slim Shady as a composer lyricist on his song Yukon. This is part of the new Swag album, which also features 2 Chainz. Yeah, 2 Chainz doing some back vocals on that track. If you want to hear it, go check it out. Look, they say Eminem didn't exactly write on the album, more like Bieber used the U-Haul reference on his opening verse. This is from a recovery track called Untitled. Bieber is just doing some real shit. Yeah, Bieber is just doing some real shit. If all the artists, when they use somebody line, would be paying the artist, that artist would be rich too. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real. Jay-Z do that a lot to Biggie. If we're charging people for that, everybody should be paying because they not writers, they are biters. You know what I mean? Point blank, period. Shout out Justin Bieber. Look, Jay-Z throwing shots at Ramirez Sadowait. It's a hard last name to even attempt to pronounce. Well, look here, Ramirez suing Jay-Z for trying to silence him. He say that's his dad, that's his pop, but Jay-Z been rejecting his request for a paternity test since the 90s. Well, look here, Jay-Z struck back. Jay-Z say all that shit is fabricated allegations that have been addressed and rejected in court. This is decades of harassment. Look, nigga, just take the test, fam. If it's not your kid, it should be nothing for you to just release some saliva, you know what I mean, and prove that that's not your boy. If it is, you owe that man something. Yeah, point blank period. It's just how it's gonna go, bro. You owe him something. That's years of child support plus all the mental anguish that you put upon him. Look, Lil Woody, YSL Woody, what I know him as, was arrested for illegal street racing. He's one of four arrested for organized and dangerous racing takeovers. They say he blocked off traffic, launched fireworks, and they had them guns. They blaming him for escalating violence. He was released on a $1,300 bond, fam, before they got his laces. It don't seem like it's just that serious, bro. That's a very low bond amount. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real. But YSL Woody is not supposed to get in any trouble. Let's start there. Well, look here, fam. They said they caught him land drags, throwing water balloons with his head hanging out the window. Look, if you want to be with the reckless shit, fam, you got to know what come with it. That bottom line, fam. He might serve a little jail time. It was reckless. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real. Look, Kanye West not allowed to perform in Europe. He's blacklisted from performing at any major European venue. This is due to his anti-Semitic comments and the release of that Hail Hitler. So a lot of you fans could blame Dave Blunts for this shit because he wrote the shit. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real. They're rejecting his request for booking. Look, bro, this adds to the list of places he's been banned from. Australia, Germany, France, the UK, Spain, Italy, and Scandinavia. They don't want him. You know what I mean? This is having an adverse reaction. He thought it was going to raise awareness and all type of shit. These people are canceling you out, fam. Yeah, they're canceling you out. They're pulling a rug straight from under him. And he deserved everything he gets from the bullshit. A lot of y'all should take this as a lesson. And let it be a lesson learned. Look, Pusha T denies Kanye West's friend's request. Look, Ye said he misses Pusha T friendship and all the times they shared. Well, look here, Pusha T caught wind of that. He say he ain't got no time for the shit. He say I would miss me too. He can't gamble with the lack of loyalty and all the lack of principles and morals that he showed to the people that he called brother. Look how he did Jay. Look, we ain't got to talk about that, but look how he did Jay, bro. He was talking about frocking. Let's say frocking. He was talking about frocking Beyonce, and he called his kids slow, fam. Just like Pusha say, ain't no reconciliation. He ain't looking to be involved with that guy ever again. Yeah, bro. But one could say, bro, what had you over there so long? Yeah, it was good when you was president of good music, you know what I mean? Pusha T, realer than I thought, fam. Drop it in the... Look, Javante Davis was arrested for domestic violence. He was arrested in Miami Beach after a fight with his BM. June 15th is when this shit happened. They've been looking for him ever since. Allegedly, he struck her in the back of the head and he cut her face with a slap, open hand slap. Somehow he cut her face, bro. Everything was recorded. They got him. Yeah, look, bro, this after a confrontation turned physical. Look, Javante Davis, bro, he's done. He's finished, fam. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real. A lot of people was waiting on a rematch against him and Lamont Roach. At this point, nigga don't even want to see him fight no more, fam. He cares so much about other shit, he don't realize what he has. Yeah, that's just been... This is the same baby mama and kids that he was willing to retire from boxing over. Man, get off the gas. Look, Drake headlining the Wireless Festival in London. He's set to become the first artist to headline all three nights. Look, he thanked the UK for showing more love than his hometown opening night. Now, he performed here in 2012, 2015, and 2021, but has never, I repeat, has never, no artist has ever headlined all three nights. This one is major. When he got off the plane, he said, I'm home. You know what I mean? Real shit, the boy is winning. Look, shout out Drizzy. What did I miss? Put this man back at #1. And we talking some solo shit. Ain't saying it's better than the shit with Party Next Door. It just hit different, fam. It just hit different. It's something you have to sit with and feel for a second to understand what the boy was coming from. Drop it in the comments, man. Scars from the playground. Look, DJ Academics defends Gunna against Young Thug. Look, days ago, Thugger tweeted out, if you a rapper and you a rat, you need to go gospel twin. Look, DJ Academic said, man, somebody need to tell Thugger he the only last rapper alive that still cares about snitching. On top of that, low-key have these niggas snitching and making our hottest records. Look, he say fans don't give a fuck. He's right, bro. Gunna is winning. But look here, Thugger responded. He say, he's right. But I wouldn't say making the best music. Look, if it's Gunna against Thugger, everybody know Gunna has surpassed Young Thug, right? I'm not gonna say it's all the way completely over for him, but I will say Gunna took the formula and ran with it. And he doing it without drugs, bro. It's commendable. You could salute that man. Yeah, you could salute that man. He didn't snitch on you. I don't think he snitched. Just being honest, I'm just being real. They all took a plea. Whether you took it at the first yard line or you took it at yard 99, you still took it, nigga. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real. Drop it in the comments, man. Scars from the playground. Gary Coleman death under investigation. Look, 15 years ago, he fell down, bumped his head, and died because of it. 2025, his ex-wife is trying to take a lie detector test to prove that she wasn't involved. She had nothing to do with it. Allegedly, she was beating the shit out of him. Look, they asked her 3 questions. I'm going to say that again. They asked her 3 questions. Did you ever strike Gary while y'all was in a relationship? Question 2. Did you withhold help from Gary when he fell? Question 3. Did you physically cause Gary to fall? Look, she lied. She failed the test. The first 2 were clear lies. It was inconclusive. They say she failed. She was allegedly beating the hell out of Gary in there. He was a little small guy and they was doing a whole lot of fighting. What did you think she was? She was just fighting back, you know, allegedly. Drop it in the comments, man. Scars from the playground. Shout out Gary Coleman. Look, Charlamagne the God throwing shots at Drake. Look, Drizzy dropped What Did I Miss? It shot him the #1 on Apple Music and Spotify, despite me thinking the song was kind of lackluster. And, you know, I like Drake. I'm a Drake supporter. You know, I wouldn't say fan, I'm a Drake supporter. But I was expecting a little more. Yeah, I was expecting a little más. But look here, Charlamagne say Drake is an incredible rapper. He loved the song. What he didn't like was the imagery. Yeah, he say Drake rapping and got all them guns behind him. He said just corny. He's just a cornball. He doesn't understand that this is just artistry. Drake is trying to say he want the smoke. Don't just want a little smoke. He wants all of it. Yeah, that's what he's trying to say, man. Charlamagne, man, you would take it. Ever since that line, Charlamagne can find light in the darkest patches, he's been mad, bro. He's been hot. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real. Drop it in the comments, man. Scars from the playground. Look, Diddy facing federal drug charges. Look, he's currently in trouble for 2 counts of violating the Man's Act. Yeah, he's been sentenced in October for that. They say this could actually carry a pretty hefty sentence, despite me thinking he might only be sentenced to 50 months, some odd months. and be getting out time served, maybe with an ankle bracelet. I don't know, bro. But look here, they looking to up them charges now. They looking at this looking like a whole different federal trial for the federal raids on his homes in Los Angeles and Miami. They found narcotics, they found firearms. They want to charge him with that. Couldn't get him like they want him. So get what? This is what they do. Once they get you in the system, I said this, go back to my old videos. Once they get you in there, that's when the charges really gonna start just adding up. So they want to get some time out of him. Drop it in the comments. The man can't be not guilty of everything. They wanted all guilty verdicts. That's what they paid for. Me and my big mouth. Drop it in the comments, man. Scars from the playground. Look, Kodak Black honored in Pompano Beach, Florida. Look, the mayor awarded Kodak Black the keys to the city. Yeah, thanked him for everything he does for the people of Pompano. Air conditioners in the summer, turkeys at Thanksgiving, gifts at Christmas. The man always goes above and beyond, even allegedly paid the rent for the whole projects. I don't know if it was just one time either. It's just what he does, bro. The man is not defined by the money. You know what I mean? The money. He's not defined by it, bro. He's still living his best life. I know it look like he look crazy a lot of the times. It do when I look at him too. But this just Kodak Black, man. The man more on note than you may think. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real. Drop it in the comments. The nigga got more sense on 40 perks than some have on none. Just being honest, just being real. Drop it in the comments, fam. Scars from the play. Trippie Redd announces new music with Kanye West. Look, him and Kanye West was beefing because Ye, I like to call him cocksucker these days. Yeah, I call him cocksucker. That's the nickname I gave him. You know what I mean? Because he admitted some shit on Cousins that he can't take back. You know what I mean? Real shit. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real. Trippie Redd, shout out you, bro. And your new album, NDA. But the nigga I ain't heard the last 10 Trippie Redd albums, if I'm just being honest and real. And the fact that he just befriended the sucker, you know what I mean, just shows what kind of person you are, bro. Well, anyway, they were beefing. Kanye said he started to raise music. Trippie Redd say you owe that nigga always trying to take something. Me, Playboy Cardi, XXXTentacion, and I think he say, well, I forgot who the fuck else he said, but he say, oh, we started raising music, Lil Uzi, we made it popular. Trippie Redd shut your whole ass up. Shit, come on, bro. You're from Ohio. You and Dave Blunt ain't y'all from the same place, bro. Chill, man. Nah, it's just hot. Scars from the playground. Drop it in the comments, man. Trippie Redd shut your ass up, man. It was just being honest, just being real. Look, Kendrick Lamar will be studied at Temple University. Kendrick Lamar and the Morale of Mad City. This course is starting fall 2025. Well, look here, Professor Welbeck, which previously taught other courses on Tupac, and he actually taught a course on Jay-Z and Beyonce. Well, look, he say, bro, Kendrick is one of the defining voices in many ways. Both in his art and his life is reflective of the black experience in many ways. It's worth talking about. Look, bro, shout out Kendrick Lamar. You know what I mean? Yeah. When you reach a certain height, fam, and they're talking about you in a college, they done made a whole class, even though it might only last for one semester. It ain't gonna be an ongoing course, but just you got that. You know what I mean? We gotta salute that, man. Shout out Duckworth. Shout out Duckworth, bro. Because if they see you like that, man, all you gotta do is keep working. Yeah, keep working. But make the music. Don't make it about Drake. Drop it in the comments, man. Scars from the play. Look, Shaquille O'Neal throwing shots at Dwight Howard. Look, it was reported that Damian Lillard has been stretched and released by the Bucks. Dwight Howard came out and say stretched and released. Now that's a pause for sure. Look, Shaq say, I know we just got cool and everything, but look here. You are the last person that should be talking about pause. Look, bro, everybody, I don't know if people scared of the White Howard or what. Or what. You know what I mean? But yes, he's the last person that should be saying anything about pause, man. That man got, look, that man take homosexual tendencies all the way up there. Yeah, all the way up there with him. You know what I mean? That man's a weirdo, fam. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real. Shout out Shaq, man. Because somebody had to say it because it seemed like people scared to say it. I'm just being honest. I'm just being real. Drop it in comments, man. Scores from the play. Look, Adam 22 throwing shots at Travis Hunter. Look, Travis Hunter signed a major contract for the NFL. Big contract. He's getting big money. But get what? He decided to bring his girlfriend along. He married her without a prenuptial agreement, a prenup, before entering the league, even though he knew there was going to be whores waiting for him. Kissing his fucking feet. Didn't want it. Adam 22 say, look at him. He's living on the edge and don't know shit. A jolly fucking idiot. Married his girlfriend before entering the NFL without a prenup, despite being advised by men that can't even keep a woman. Look at Adam 22. You giving yours to BBC for a low dollar amount, fam. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real. You ain't want to talk. Drop it in the comments, man. Scars from the playground. Look, Stephon Diggs throwing shots at Cardi B. He say the reason they broke up is because a BBL smelled like garbage. Yeah, he said he just couldn't do it no more, bro. This was an exclusive interview. He didn't hold back. He say it was tough. He just couldn't handle it no more, no mas. Her BBL had a smell that was unbearable. He tried to be understanding, but it affected everything. Look, bro, I don't know how true this is. I don't know how true this is, but allegedly it leaks from the pores and it leaves a stench. He's saying Cardi B had that stench. He don't care how pretty the picture is painted, if it's painted on bad paper. Drop it in the comments, man. It's Cars from the Playground. Roddy Rich. Really forges on the G, and underneath. Look, his Navy album is delayed. Look, it's delayed, fam. Originally, it was set to come out, if we being honest, December 24th of last year, December 2024. The first single came out February 2024, so people have been waiting on this. They waiting till July 18th. We bought it to what, the 8th right now? They thinking it's coming out. Apple Music updated it. This album is actually gonna drop October 24th, 2025. Look, fam, fans have been waiting on this and they are tired of the delays. Roddy Ricch said it's finally his chance to take his time on it. He's putting everything is gonna sound like a soundtrack to your life. Niggas just wanna hear the music, bro. You really just scared to flop. One flop, this nigga might be forced to retire. Let's just be honest. This is how the business works. Drop it in the comments. Scars from the Playground. Whack 100 defends Diddy. Sean Diddy Combs amid allegations. Look, Officer Wacky. Wack is an officer, undercover officer of the law. He has showed his badge. Yeah, he has showed his badge. Therefore, he's like a J. Reed type nigga. You ain't no cop. Nah, you ain't no cop. You a sellout. You know what I mean? That's Whack 100. But look here, Whack defends Diddy. He say Diddy, when Diddy get out of jail, when he's finally released, he be right back on top of things. Look, I'm gonna tell you like this, Diddy ain't gonna never be what he was. That's just me being honest. It'll never be what it was. He'd be accepted by the community once he comes out. And I'm not talking about out of prison, I'm talking about out the closet. Drop it in the comments. Once he come out, he'd be accepted by the community, but they don't own hip hop. Unfortunately, he'll never be. You know, Officer Wack, he can't say that. He don't know shit. Drop it in the comments, Cars from the Playground. Look, Nicki Minaj throwing shots at Jay-Z. She say she did her little calculations, and she think Jigga owe her somewhere between 100 million and $200 million. And she say, let's get it, nigga. She want her money. It's collecting interest. She say he's still in her top 5 though. Still like him musically. But as a person, can't fuck with him. He does bad business, allegedly. Look, drop it in the comments. I salute Nicki Minaj for this. You hear a lot of people saying, oh, you just like dysfunction. This ain't that. Yeah, this ain't that. She want her money, and she want her motherfucking money right now. You know what I mean? Real shit. Drop it in the comments. But Nicki Minaj ain't playing with him. She say with the money Sean Carter owes her, she's gonna send the boys to college, pay off student loans, pay all their fees. But she need her money back now. Drop it in the comments, man. Scars from the Playground. Look, Kendrick Lamar, not like us. Certified diamond. Diamond, meaning it has sold over 10 million copies since being released May 2024, despite being boughted. I guess they didn't count those. Man might have been 2 times diamond if they had a count. But look, this ain't all about that. You know what I mean? Kendrick won 5 Grammys off of Not Like Us, off of a diss record, fam. Makes it his 8th diamond certified track. This is dope, but let's just be honest, let's just be real. Drake got 10. I know a lot of people be like, well, why are you comparing? That's what y'all like to do these days. Y'all like to compare. But look, Kendrick won 5 Grammys. Rap record of the year, rap record of the year, song of the year, best rap song, best music video, and best rap performance. Even performed it at the Grammys. Drop it in the comments. Salute that boy. Look, Young Thug throwing shots at Gunna. He said, if you're a rapper and you're a rat, then you must go to gospel, twin. Look, bro, Gunna is living his best life, getting money, and he eating right. You know what I mean? Not to mention, he has officially surpassed Young Thug musically. Look, a lot of people are saying Thug must be obsessed with old Gunna. Bro, you got to be. Why? The man took the formula and ran with it. Nigga ain't worried about that ratatouille shit no more, that rat. Nigga ain't worried about that. Nobody's involved in that, bro. So getting people to sway your way on that, man, that's over. Yeah, that's over. Only thing that matters is the music, because y'all all are fucking entertainers. Let's just keep it real, fam. I'm just being real. I'm just being honest. But Gunna surpassed Thugger. Yeah, Thug came out wearing leather shorts. Yeah, drop it in the comments, fam. Scars from the play. Drake is #1 on Apple Music and Spotify. This is for his new track, What Did I Miss? What Did I Miss? What Did I Miss? Look, certain parts of the song is tight, it's hard, you know what I mean? But really, it's just another Drake track. Yeah, bro, it's just another Drake track. If you ask me, it don't go harder than no songs on some sexy songs for you. Other than that, meet the Padre shit. You know what I mean? Other than that, meet the Padre shit. Other than that, like, this is just another song from Drake. Yeah, it's another song from Drizzy. I want to see more. You know, it's coming from a real hip hopper, not just a fan, nigga. I want to see more. You know what I mean? When I heard about this Ice Man, I'm looking like it's a solo album. I'm trying to see where he gonna go with this. Certain parts of the song was hard, but it just wasn't all left, fam. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real, fam. This ain't about Drake and Kendrick. This is about good music only. Drop it in the comments, man. Scars from the Playground. Look, 4 Extra nearly lost his fucking hand in a fireworks accident, bro. He was fucking with some M80s. These particular M80s are banned. If you ever see these M80s, they about that big. Don't fuck with them. They'll literally take your hand off. Yeah, bro. The man went to light it. Pop. You know what I mean? Pop. You know, yeah. Pop. Popped his whole fucking hand off. 4 fingers, fam. 4 fucking fingers looked like they was severed off. I'm hearing the surgery went well. They was able to reattach some shit and make it look like it was supposed to, but that hand may never work. Yeah, that hand may never work. Uh, Aaron the plumber, he say that fight is canceled. Now he's wants to do a juggling competition with him. Uh, a lot of people dragging them for it because they say, man, that's a low blow. It ain't no low blow when your enemy gets hurt, bro. Y'all stay away from them firecrackers, man. You stay away from them motherfucking firecrackers. Nigga learned this lesson a long time ago. I don't want to light no string and try to run before it gets me. It just doesn't seem cool, fam. Shout out 4Extra. Hope the fingers grow back. Look, Master P announces his retirement. He said his Essence show will be his last show. He moving on to a whole nother chapter. Look, bro, at some point, you have to retire. Point blank period, especially when it comes to performing. These people, let's just be honest, man. These people get old, stop taking care of themselves, and think they just gonna wobble on that stage and do anything with them old ass hits. Look, bro, it don't work. Yeah, it don't work. You just embarrass yourself. Look at Genuine. Genuine still trying to do them same dance moves, even though every time he hit a spin or something, his body locks up on him. You know what I mean? Look, bro, go before you get embarrassed. Point blank period. I thought Master P had retired a long time ago. I'm just being honest. I'm just being real. I know he's a legacy act, but I didn't think he was still hooping and hollering about who do? Buckle up, gon' do. Yeah, yeah, shit, man. Come on, man. Sit your ass down with that shit. I mean, if you ain't just doing some backyard shit like L.A. Russell, you really shouldn't even be in the field like that no more, homie. Let's just be honest. You supposed to be A&R. You supposed to be finding artists and putting on people. You know what I mean? But get what? Niggas ain't real like that no more. Yeah, niggas ain't real like that no more. They want too much of a cut these days. You know what I mean? Nigga be like, bro, you can have it. Real shit, Scars from the playground. Drop it in the comments, man. Shout out Master People. I thought he had retired a long time ago. Just being honest. Just being real, fam. A youngster throwing shots at Lil Kiki. He said Lil Kiki secretly been taking the money from the Screw Fest and purposely not booking him, trying to wipe him out of history. Look, bro. He said Kiki, you ain't SUC. You really switch house, and you're not self-made because DJ Screw made y'all. Look, bro. Lil Kiki has responded. Lil Kiki has responded, and it was a damn good response. Damn good response. The man say he been on his ass. It was just him. After Screw died, wasn't nobody helping him. He had to keep it going. That's what he did. You know what I mean? Shout out Lil Kiki. Youngster fam, you have to understand, bro, you missed a lot of your opportunities going off that sherm, that water. You know what I mean? It wasn't a scissor. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real. Until you're ready to be real, Nick can't even talk to you like that. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real, bro. You cannot come at Lil Kiki the Dawn. Wasn't him. You know what I mean? That man just been getting his money like he's supposed to. Drop it in the comments, fam. Scars from the playground. Kodak Black throwing shots at NBA YoungBoy. Say NBA YoungBoy secretly wants to be him. He go to Jamaica, YB go to Jamaica. He do Make America Sexy Again, Massa. YB do Make America Slime Again. Look, bro, it ain't no coincidence. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real. I don't know what this is. Yeah, I don't know what this is because I wasn't looking at it like that. But he say, bro, unless you're doing this to get my attention, what the fuck are you on, gang? Look, bro, inquire minds want to know. Look, I like YB, but you got to admit, Kodak Black, hit to hit, bro, back to back, bro. Just even with the drugs, the 80 Percocets and the heroin, the nigga still make a song every day and has been doing that most of his career. Now he's saying he about to drop some real shit because the Make America Slime album sucks. He said it's all ass and he likes NBA YoungBoy. Drop it in the comments. I don't see this ending too well, but I don't think it's gonna get violent because both of them just speak it how they speak it. That's it. I'm just being honest. I'm just being real. Drop it in the comments, man. Scars from the playground.
If they throw it, I'ma catch it to play the game like Tetris. I'm one of a kind rap, people tell me I'm a clip. I've been working 24 hours, summertime to winter. I ain't really at the chill, it gotta be about business.